Welcome back. Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck and not being able to save money? If so, you are certainly not alone. Many people struggle with knowing where all of their money is going. But there's a simple and effective solution to this problem. It's the 50-30-20 budgeting method. In this video, I'll walk you through how easy it can be to apply, and I'll offer some general guidelines on how much of your income should go towards necessities like auto and rent or mortgage. Now, when you hear the word budget, I understand it sounds like a real pain and a bit overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. The 50-30 budgeting method is based on dividing your income into only 3 categories: 50% for necessities, 30% for our wants in life, and 20% for savings and debt reduction. It's a straightforward approach that can really help you achieve financial stability and reach your goals. But it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. In practice, it can be tricky, and many people don't always know how to categorize things correctly. So let's look at the nuances of this method and explore how you tailor it to fit your unique circumstances. First, we must remember that when applying this method, we are only referring to all of our income after the taxes have been taken out. Now, the first category, which is 50% for necessities, includes things like rent or mortgage payment, groceries, car payments, insurance, healthcare, utilities, property tax, the minimum debt payments, and other basic essential bills. This category is non-negotiable expenses and is required. However, this is where people can begin to struggle with deciding what's an actual need. For example, the basic needs for housing, autos, and groceries are different for different people. And we'll look at how we determine the appropriate amount of these expenses in a bit. The second category, which is 30% for our wants, includes what's called the discretionary expenses in life, such as entertainment, dining out, including all the takeout meals, and any beverages you buy throughout the day, vacations, clothes shopping. Yes, clothes should be included in this area. Traveling, gifts, gym memberships, and hobbies. This category is where we can indulge ourselves a bit and spend guilt-free to enjoy life. However, sometimes autos, housing, and groceries spill into this area. For example, if we choose to live in a nicer apartment that costs 30% more than we actually need, then 30% of that rent should be added to the wants category. Or remember, there are still several new cars available for under $30,000. So if we want to drive a $60,000 vehicle, then half of the expense of that automobile should go into the wants category. Finally, the third category, which is the remaining 20% of spending, is where you focus on building wealth and paying down debt. This area includes things like having an emergency fund, which is really important, retirement savings, debt repayments above the minimum required debt repayments, and any other goals you may have, such as saving for a down payment on a car or a home. Now, let's look at an example. Say take-home pay is $4,000. We would simply multiply that by 50% or 0.5 to get $2,000 for our needs. Then we multiply that $4,000 by 30% or 0.3 to get $1,200 for our wants in life. And then $4,000 by 20% or 0.2 to get $800 for savings and paying down debt. Thus, we end up with limits that we should spend in each area, and it helps us determine if our spending in any one area seems out of whack. This method makes budgeting easier, since we only have 3 areas. Every time we spend money, we simply throw that expense into one of the 3 areas, and total each up at the end of each month. If we are spending more than 30% in the wants category, let's say, we need to look for things in that area to cut back on. One of the first places I would recommend taking a closer look at is what you might be spending on dining out, takeout meals, and beverages. For people, it can be really shocking what that area totals up to be each month. Naturally, these percentages in each category are just a starting point though, and it may need to be adjusted for your unique personal situation. For example, if you live in a high-cost area and living there is absolutely required and not a desire, your 50% for necessities may need to be higher than someone who lives in a more affordable area. Or, if you happen to be in the bottom 20% of income earners, then according to the U.S. Census Bureau, it is likely you may be spending 63% of your income just on rent plus your utilities. Thus, if you're in one of those high rent areas or rent to income ratio is high due to your current income level, we would have to increase the necessities category to 60 or maybe even 70%. In that case, we should really try and decrease the wants category first as much as possible. For example, if 70% was really required for needs, then maybe 15% for wants and 15% for savings and paying down debt would be acceptable. Also, if you are just starting your career, you may need to allocate more than 20% towards debt repayments and savings until you're in a better financial position. That's the time in life to make a few more sacrifices and focus on getting out of debt and start saving for retirement, because those investments have the longest time to enjoy compounded growth. Another thing to consider if you happen to be a high income earner, 30% for your wants category may be too high and really unneeded. You should again look to lower that down to maybe 20% and have saving and investing at 30%. You don't want lifestyle inflation to get out of hand and make the amount needed for retirement to be inflated. Also, if you happen to be in a career that starts later in life, this can create problems when planning for retirement. Maybe we got a late start due to the amount of education needed, like maybe a doctor or lawyer or something else that really delayed you. In this case, you most likely have a shortened working career. So you would want to lower your wants category and increase your saving and investing to around 30% because you have a shorter investment period before retirement age. Now, let's take a look at some other rule of thumbs to see if our spending in certain areas kind of seems a little out of whack. Lenders have a variety of general rules they look to follow when looking at a person's financial affairs. One of those is that we should absolutely not spend more than 28% of our gross earnings on mortgage or rent. And remember, if you have a mortgage, that 28% applies to the debt payment, home insurance, and the property tax. This general guideline allows us to consider if we are trying to support a lifestyle that is too high for our current income. If we are over that amount, it can be too much of a burden for us, and it makes it harder to save and invest properly. Another general rule that's commonly used when considering autos is that we should try not to spend more than 10% of our gross income on transportation, which includes the car payment, insurance, and taxes, and also the maintenance. If we do, it may be a sign we are buying vehicles that are too expensive for our current income level. This is certainly an amount that most Americans will find it difficult staying under because we like our cars. However, It's at least a good starting point to ensure you are not overspending on an asset that depreciates in value, because it will make it more difficult to save, invest, and create financial independence. Now that we have discussed the general 50-30-20 budgeting method and some of the ways we may look to tailor it to fit our unique circumstances, let's talk about why having a budget is important in the first place. For starters, it helps us prioritize our spending and make intentional choices about where our money is going. Instead of feeling like we have no control over our finances, we make informed decisions that align with our financial goals, values, and can help us create financial independence. Another benefit of having a budget is that it can reduce financial stress. When we have a plan for our money, we can feel more in control of our finances and less anxious about unexpected expenses or bills. Despite all the benefits though, many people still dislike the idea of budgeting. It can seem overwhelming, time-consuming, or restrictive. However, it doesn't have to be any of those things. In fact, with the right approach, budgeting can be empowering and liberating. One way to make budgeting easier is to use technology. There are many budgeting apps and software programs available that can help you track your expenses and automate your savings. With these tools, budgeting can be streamlined and efficient, especially when there's only 3 categories to dump things into. This budgeting method can help you take back control over your finances and achieve your goals. However, it's important to tailor it to fit your unique circumstances and be flexible in your approach. But we absolutely want to prioritize the saving and investing category and then live on what's left. We also must make sure we're living within our means. Make sure the total of all the categories does not exceed your take-home pay. With the right mindset and tools, budgeting can be a positive and empowering experience that leads to greater financial stability and well-being. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.